what the teacher says. But once you allow them to have agency through their body and they get to choose the movement and it's fun for them, then they kind of take their bodies back. Mm-hmm. And then from there, and that moment, even though basketball may not seem like the most, revolutionary thing to do at some point when it comes to masculinity, just in that moment when they take their bodies back, you have a chance for them to start questioning how it is they're going to start defining the relationship to their body. So they have their bodies back now, so they get to name it again. So that was the first step, and from there, then that's why you need mentors who are conscious of gender. So, for instance, this boy Patrick, who's in the program, we were having, we were doing movement, and he was having a great time. And I noticed that just that alone allowed him to be more gender deviant, in that but first of all, he came to the program, he put his hair in a ponytail. He has really long hair. And I was like, okay, and he came up to me, he was like, yeah, I put my hair in a ponytail, what do you think? I was like, sure, I'm at Oberlin now, so I'm like, you could do whatever. But I was wondering about how, as the day went on, I was wondering if he needed confirmation that it was okay. And I noticed throughout the day, he kept playing with his ponytail as he kept doing the exercise. He was just like, oh wait, I have to put my hair in a ponytail. Oh wait, and it was just the most feminine thing. And I was like, but it took me, I think, for me as a mentor to kind of make him feel good about that. I needed to realize what was going on at that moment, that he was trying to rename himself. So, and I think that's how mentors have to be conscious as well. So we provided the space for him to re-own his body, but the mentors have to foster that rebelliousness. And because, as I suspected, when in a later session girls came into the Boys in Motion, they called him out immediately for having a ponytail. They're like, Patrick, your hair's too long. And these were girls from Girls in Motion. No, that's just it. It's a struggle, and there's not good or bad kids. It's just the dynamics are crazy, but you have to work with them. So the girls came in, they're like, Patrick, your hair's too long, and they called him Patricia. It was just instant. They walked into the room and they just were dropping it down like it was hot. And it took, and I realized what was going on. And while some of the mentors who aren't so conscious about gender dynamics are kind of like, oh, this is what middle schoolers do, I was like, no, you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to. So, you have to, I think you need to be able to, you have to be conscious in order to help them get a new sense of identity. In a very treacherous world, people will try to bring you down for being who you are. So, I think now, that was really the most fascinating part for me. So I think that, to my surprise, a gendered space could be really strategic, like Boys in Motion, but one, that it's, and I guess maybe I messed up with this, it's not only a gender space, but it's one that has movement as well, that will allow kids to re-engage with their bodies and be able to name them for themselves once again. And I guess since this is CAS, situated research, I was thinking about intersectionality. I was like, shoot, I just talked about gender, I didn't talk about race, class, sexuality. But just to point out a few examples about how they're still related and what happened, how I still observed how this space of movement was conducive not only to refuting gender norms that are forced upon your bodies, it was also a great space and a great opportunity to refute sexual norms and class norms in a way, and race was involved. So just to give out a few examples, I'm still trying to work this into my broader project, but for instance, being present at the middle school with my nails painted hot magenta, kind of my movement into that sphere prompted a young girl to come up to me and say, hey, why are your nails painted? Or, you know, and so I was like, I like the color. And, then she walked away. But then a later time she came up and she was like, oh, what happened? Your nails aren't painted. And I had just taken off the color and they were just clear. And so I was like, yeah, they're just clear. I wanted to do something different. And she was like, are you, you know. And I was like, it's like queer. And she was like, oh, no, I'm sorry. Stop. She was like, are you, oh, you better not be. And for a second I was like, ooh, I'm back in middle school. So I was like, no, I'm queer. And so she was like, oh, I'm bi. I was like, okay, you almost made my heart stop. We were just playing games, but it was just, so these moments in which, I don't know, just being present was a great way to help kids challenge these things and to show, me, I kind of embodying who I am and kind of naming my own body and saying, I can wear nail polish if I want to. Just even being an example as a mentor was great in helping challenge sexual norms as well. And class, I guess, just being with them and helping them feel like it's okay to be broke. I mean, that was really all I'm thinking about right now. And, for instance, what are you going to get at Christmas? Oh, you're not going to get anything. Well, I'm not going to get anything either. It's okay. We can celebrate something else. And if you don't celebrate Christmas. And then race was a really interesting factor in all of this as well. Whereas Patrick, I mentioned before, who was a faithful participant in the organization, he was there since like day one. It was much easier to get white boys to come to the program than Latino or black boys to the program. And I saw only one Asian child in my whole experience there, and I don't know, I couldn't catch him. But it was interesting that there was a difference in time. So for some reason it was easier for the white boys to come to the program, and it was hard for the black ones to come and the Latinos ones to come. I mean, it seemed like they had a harder time with, I believe it was authority, though it was really hard. I think they required more of a challenge. So Patrick, we could tell them more what to do, I guess, or they weren't so suspicious of authority. But the black and Latino boys were very suspicious, and they would challenge our entrance into their sphere, and we had to kind of challenge back and say, ooh, I don't know that we can be here, and they required so much more. Like for them, in order to get them in the program, we had to play basketball outside after school, and they had to watch us from a distance to see what we were all about. And I just think that's really fascinating, and I feel like I came up with this great analysis for that situation and how that applied, but I haven't fully fleshed that out yet. But there are a lot of interesting things to think about. And thank you for being such a wonderful audience.